Did you know that at some point around the 16th century, some of my European ancestors thought that California was, as a matter of fact, an island? I found this piece of information quite interesting. And by the way, this has been a long-held misconception that went viral. Well, whatever viral meant at that time. And people stick to it. Now, I found maps pretty fascinating tools. Maps are fascinating tools to make sense out of external reality and to navigate into reality. Well, nowadays, all the maps that we have to chart external reality are quite accurate. As a matter of fact, very few maps to make sense of our evolving social and cultural background are meaningful. So it's always more and more difficult to draw maps to make sense out of a very complex, evolving landscape. Now, as someone say, we live in a VUCA world. Have you heard the word VUCA? Taken from the military jargon and now drawn into the corporate world. VUCA means a world which is volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. So basically, all our certainties are kind of evaporated. And in order to survive and to thrive in such an environment, we don't need a more complex model. We don't need a more refined and more sophisticated map. What is useful to survive into this kind of environment is a concept called negative capability. Now, the idea of negative capability is a creation of the English poet John Keats. According to John Keats, negative capability is the ability to live into uncertainties, to live into mystery, to process and to conceive opposite ideas and nonetheless be able to function. So negative capability is the ability that can be trained to stand in a moment of uncertainty where you don't know, you don't have any much certain reference points, and nonetheless being able to stand into it and be able to function. Now, this is another interesting study. Well, in the field of management literary, there are a multiplicity of studies addressing the fact that nowadays a good manager and a good leader is someone who is able just to stand into a situation without much certainties and be open and being able to navigate into these waters in a comfortable way. So the idea of standing open to what's happening, to what's going to happen, like listening to subtle signals, to weak signals that are emerging, and basically the role of a manager and a leader is to facilitate the emergence of things that want to emerge. But again, the idea of standing in the midst of chaos, standing in the midst of complexity, and nonetheless being able to function. And also being able to go with the flow, as they say, and being open to serendipitous events, because good things can happen. So it's a kind of postmodern kind of faith. Just stay there, just be quiet, don't hurry up and don't speed up decisions. Just let's wait and see what happens.